Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Hazrina Kamariah and today I would like to share a critical and analytical review of Malaysia's trade performance in 2024 by official data from Metrad and MGT. And this presentation is not just about listing numbers, instead I will explain what those numbers really mean and how they reflect Malaysia's position in global trade. And I will explore the patterns of export and imports, highlight the reason behind increase and decrease, and uncover some hidden insights that are not directly mentioned in the report. And I will also explain how government strategies contribute to our performance, and finally, give my own opinion about what we can expect for Malaysia trade in 2025. In 2024, Malaysia recorded its highest trade value ever, which is RM 2.879 trillion. Exports grew by 5.7%, reaching RM 1.508 trillion. And at the same time, imports increased even faster by 13.2%, reaching RM 1.371 trillion because imports rose more than exports. The trade surplus dropped 36.4% from RM 215 billion in 2023 to RM 136.88 billion in 2024. Why did export increase? The first reason is the strong global demand for electrical and electronic products, especially semiconductors and medical devices. E&E remained our top export, value at RM 601.18 billion. Second, Malaysia export more processed food and scientific equipment, which show our shift toward higher value exports. Third, palm oil export increased by 11.7% due to stronger demand and higher global prices. Finally, we saw big export growth in emerging markets such as Egypt, Ethiopia, and Kenya, which helped boost total exports. But not all exports increased. Exports to China dropped by 2.2% because of lower demand for electronics and scrap metal. Also, petroleum exports fell by 11.2% and crude oil exports dropped by 9.1% due to lower global oil prices and energy demand. As for imports, they increased mainly because Malaysia needed more intermediate goods and machinery to support local industry. Factories had to import parts to build finished products, especially in the E&E sector. Also, businesses restocked supplies after the COVID-19 disruptions. And although the ringgit was weaker, companies still had to import to meet demand. So, while trade activity was high, our profit margin shrank and we became more dependent on imports. When we look at the trend by quarter, we see an important pattern. In third quarter, the trade surplus was only RM 24.68 billion, the lowest in 2024, and the fourth quarter, it increased to RM 46.1 billion, which is an 86.8% jump. This shows that Malaysia trade performance is stronger at the end of the year. One reason is the holiday season, when global demand increased, especially for electronics, food, and palm oil. Another reason is that companies often ship out more at the end of the year to meet yearly targets. There is another hidden insight here. While E&E is our top export, it is also our top import. Malaysia import RM 455 billion worth of E&E components in 2024. This means our success in export depends heavily on import parts. If there is a supply chain problem, it can affect our exports badly. Malaysia's trade performance was also helped by strong government strategies. These include the National Trade Blueprint, the New Industrial Master Plan 2030, and 16 Free Trade Agreements. These efforts help Malaysian companies reach more countries and reduce trade barriers. For examples, export to Canada increased by 55.9%, exports to Turkey increased by 17.1%, and exports to Mexico reached a record high. This shows that government action had a real impact on improving Malaysia's trade. Beside E&E, Malaysia also did well in sectors like palm oil, processed food, and scientific equipment. These sectors are important not only for the economy but also sustainable and long-term development. For example, processed food exports grew by 16.7%, showing that Malaysia is adding more value to its agriculture products. A hidden success was our performance in emerging markets. Exports to Egypt rose by 53.6% and to Ethiopia by 56.4%. We also saw record high exports to Kenya, Oman, and Namibia. These countries mostly import palm oil and food products. This showed that Malaysia is no longer relying on big markets like China and the US. Instead, we are opening new trade routes and building relationships with fast-growing countries, especially in Africa and the Middle East. Based on the patterns in 2024, I believe Malaysia's trade in 2025 will continue to grow, but maybe more slowly. The E&E sector will still be our strongest export, but it depends on global demand and the availability of import parts. If there is a slowdown in tech industry or if import price rise, our export could be affected. I also believe that sectors like palm oil, processed food, and medical technology will continue to grow, and we have already seen strong demand in these sectors from both developed and emerging countries. Malaysia's trade surplus might stay small in 2025 if imports continue to grow faster than exports. To manage this, Malaysia will need to keep working on improving local production and reducing dependence on foreign parts. If we continue to use trade agreements and explore new markets, I believe Malaysia can maintain steady trade growth in 2025. First, Malaysia should increase local production of E&E parts. This will reduce import dependence, protect profit margins, and strengthen supply chain controls. Second, Malaysia should deepen trade efforts in Africa and the Middle East, where demand is growing and competition is still low. Third, the government should support value-added industry like processed food, green tech, and medical exports. These sectors provide higher income, stable jobs, and long-term sustainability for Malaysia's economy. In conclusion, Malaysia's trade in 2024 reached a new record high. Exports and imports both grew, but the trade surplus became smaller because we import more than we export. We saw positive trends in electronics, food, and palm oil, as well as success in new trade markets. Government strategies and free trade agreements also help expand our trade network. As we look ahead to 2025, Malaysia needs to focus on building stronger industries and smarter trade strategies. Thank you for watching my presentation.